Hello, this is Joanne Hewins from LoveToCreate.typepad.com. Today I want to share with you some cards that are made using scraps. I just did a Facebook Live a few days ago with some cards with scraps, and I had a few cards left I didn't get to, and I just wanted to share them and make them with you, and so here we go. This is the first card that we're going to make today, and this card uses scraps of soft sea foam, evening evergreen, and soft succulent. And we're going to make the card kind of quickly. So our card base for this is the evening evergreen. And I have taken a piece of basic white that is cut to, let me look over here, 3 3/4 by 5, and I ran it through the cut and emboss machine with the Tasteful Textile embossing folder, and that gives that a little bit of texture for the bottom of the card. And we're going to be decorating this, and then we'll add it to the card. Now, I also have something that I'm going to use today with this card called the foam adhesive sheets. These come in, let me measure the size of that. It is 4.5 by 4 1/4 for some odd reason. And let's see if it says how many comes in a pack. 6 sheets in a pack. And this is a really good adhesive. If you want a little bit of rising, it's the same height as our dimensionals. And for our purpose today, it is perfect. So what I'm going to do is pull off one of these adhesive sheets, and I'm going to add it to the card. And I'm going to use my grid paper to make sure I get this straight across. And I'm going to put it kind of in the middle. So there, I think that's straight, pretty much straight. And now I'm just going to pull off this piece. And that leaves us with a sticky piece there. So what I'm going to do is just start adding pieces. These are about a half an inch wide, and I think I cut all of them to 3.5, so they're all the same length. I get this scrap when I'm cutting a card front or a card piece to go on the front of my card, and usually we cut those at 4 by 5 1/4, and we end up with a strip about like this left over, and I don't throw those away. Okay, so I'm going to add that strip right there. I'm not going to worry about these ends, and then I'm just going to keep adding. I'm going to try to butt them up against the next strip, and I'm going to vary the height of that. Each time, though, I want to make sure that this piece will be covered. So I'm going to go up a little higher with this one, but I'm still making sure that this, okay, I'm trying to butt that up against it, that this bottom part is covered. So I'm just going to keep doing that until the front of this is covered, okay? And I'm just trying to keep my same pattern of colors going across, hopefully. And we'll do that until we get all the way across. Okay, and then this last one isn't really going to fill up the whole space. We'll just trim that down a little bit. It might work out better to start in the middle and go to each side, and that way they would be the same on each side, but I didn't do that. So I'm just going to take my scissors and trim right along that edge. And I did stick that out a little bit here, so I'll trim that as well. Okay. And then this will go on our card base. In a few minutes, we're going to do our sentiment, though, to go with that. And for this, I have a piece of paper. Now, I got this out of my scraps. I keep my scraps of whites in a box. This is 1.5 by 3 3/4, and it's just going to go across there and fit. And on my sentiment, I'll be stamping that in Evening Evergreen. And I'm using the Ornate Thanks stamp set. This is in the annual catalog. It's been around for a while, but I like it because the word's going to go all the way across. So I've got that on my block, and I'm going to stamp that. Ink it up good. And I'm going to try to stamp that straight across. And I don't want to rock it because I had some green up there I didn't want to get. As a rule, you don't want to rock your stamps anyway. Okay, and then this says, thank you, and it adds in from the bottom of my heart. So I'm going to stamp that there. Okay. And as I said, that's from the Ornate Thanks. And I'm going to close my ink pad. Let me move that out of the way so I don't get it on my hands. And we'll be adding this saying to the card. I'm just going to add a little bit of glue to that. And again, I want it to be straight, so I'm going to use my grid paper. I'm looking at this bottom line across here. Okay, so I'm going to add some of the Evening Evergreen in color ribbon to this, and I'm going to just tie it in a knot. So I'm going to go around and just try to figure out how much I'm going to need for that. Pull a little bit more over. And I think I'll cut it about there. Okay. And I'm going to get a glue dot on my Take Your Pick tool and just have it handy. And I'm going to tie that there. I'm going to put a glue dot under there to hold it in place. I'd have gotten that a little bit higher than I need. There, we got it. And then I'm just going to tie another tie across there. Okay, and then we'll just notch or cut our ribbon at an angle. And then we'll glue this to the front of the card. And I went ahead and had some of this stuff done because I want to do 3 cards. All of them are made using scraps. You make sure that's going to be opening the right way. Okay, we'll add that across there. And then we are going to bring in, I've got 2 packs here actually of the jewels, the in color jewels. And we're just going to put a couple here and there. I guess I'll have to get the small ones from this pack. Maybe I'll put, I think I'll still put it down there because that's going to make it a little easier to mail if you don't have it sticking up so far. So let me take these out of the way. And that's our first card that we have. And I'll take this stuff out of the way and we'll move on to the next one that we're going to make today. This card is going to use scraps. Still move a few things out of the way. This card is going to use scraps from the Cute Halloween paper. And because I like to cover the entire front of a card, I often have a lot of scraps left in this kind of paper. Now I do keep my 6x6 just in a quart baggie. This is the freezer side, and I'll show you quickly the papers in here. And these are the ones that I haven't cut yet. I need to get busy because Halloween will be here and I need to have used my paper. So that's most of them. I think I showed you that one. So you can see I need to get busy and make some stuff. But here are the scrap parts that I cut from a while ago to make this card. So I'll take these and put them out of the way. And I have little 1-inch strips of this, and I cut them at varying lengths. I've cut some to 2 3/4. I've got some that are cut to 3, and some that are 3 1/4. So they're different lengths. To start off, I'm going to, excuse me for reaching, I'm going to just make a line, just a pencil line across my card. And I think this is probably about 3/4 of an inch down. And this will be covered up. So there we go with that. And I'm going to use a punch to help me with this. And this is the banner punch. I did not write that down. There's several that have different endings, and I think this one is the banners. And what I'm going to do, I have to pay attention if there's a direction, like the boos right there, that I'll put my punch on the right end. So I'm going to stick 3 of those in together. I'm going to turn this to the back, and you can see that at first it wasn't all even. So there, I've got those 3 punched out. Let me get, okay, one, these long ones. And again, I'm going to do them in here. Like I said, they are 1 inch. See how that's not straight in there? So I want to make them straight. And they do pop out. Okay, these. And I think I'll just do 2 and 2. I'm not so sure about putting 4 in there at a time. Okay, And I'll get all that trash later. Okay, let me straighten that up. And there we go. We'll push some of that out of the way and get rid of our punch. And now we are ready to assemble. So what I'm going to do is just take some of my banners and put them across the card. And I'm going to use glue to do this. And you can use either side of the banner. I used this one on this side because there's no interest right there in that little bit. And I'm just going to take it near my line, and I'm actually not even going to do it straight. I'm going to go to the side. Okay, I think I'll do the color here. So we're just doing them a little bit askew as we go across. And just kind of choose a length and a design that you like. You know, I think I'm going to wait on that one and pull in a short one. We don't want all of our long ones at one spot. Okay. Maybe we'll put... I ended up with a lot more long ones somehow. Forgot about that one. I'll have to use that. Okay, and we haven't used this dot. Okay, and that didn't go all the way over to the edge there. I think it'll be okay. I'm going to take my snips and just trim this little bit off. By the way, my base is thick, basic white. It is 5.5 by 8.5, scored and folded at 4 1/4. So it's a regular card size. And I'm just going to put these to the side there. And I'm going to put some of the black and white, excuse me, black and white gingham. This is a new roll. Sometimes it's hard to get in there and get the plastic off. And so what I do is just kind of bunch it up, and that plastic bunches up with it. Okay, and again, I'm going to get a glue dot on my pick a tool, and this is going to go all the way around and tie. So I'm going to maybe leave about that much ribbon. I don't know how to tie. I know there's a lot of people who can tie and leave it on the bolt so they don't waste ribbon, and I don't know how to do that. I need to learn how. Okay, so I'm going to move that up just a little bit. Put my glue dot under the knot, and then we'll tie our bow. Bow tying is not my thing. I don't think I have it. I usually use one of those bow tie cheap things when I'm doing that. So let me trim the edges here. I didn't waste too much. Okay, and then we are ready to do our saying here. I think I'm going to get another glue dot and just put it underneath this ribbon to kind of hold it in place a little bit better. There we go. So I'm using the Cutest Halloween stamp set, and I'll be using this saying right here, have a fabulous Halloween. So I'm going to bring in a scrap. This is one of those scraps we have left over, and we will stamp this in Memento Black. Okay. Oops. Okay, that came out a little bit too much closer to the top. So let's try it again. Okay, I think that will work. And what we're going to do for this is simply cut the words apart. Okay, and we will add them to the front of the card. Okay, and I'm going to start by using glue dots. I think I'm going to run out though. I wanted to use it on this A. That's the last one actually. I wanted to use it on the A because it's so small. I have to bend it back just a little bit. Have A. I'll bring back in the glue since I used all my glue dots. And this is going to be fabulous Halloween. Okay, and then I'm going to bring in the Halloween punch, and we'll find some scraps that we can use. It's on the back of the boot, no? Aha. Okay, here's some scraps, and I'm just going to I'm going to cut this off right here, and hopefully I can just push this in right there. And punch that right out of our designer paper. Get that out of the way. And we will add this with dimensionals. And let's see, I've got some pieces here I've been trying to use up. We'll just put it there. And right there goes our jack-o'-lantern, and that is this card. Okay, so I actually did the inside of this card, and we'll just work on that a little bit. I took the strips and just laid them right up against the fold. We'll just leave a little bit of space there, and then we'll put, I guess we'll put those colors there. And then I added the saying, you put a smile on my face. So we'll do that real quick. Again, we'll be using the Memento Black. All right, so that card is finished inside and out. Okay, and I have one more card that I want to show you. To get a few other things out of the way here. Okay, I think that will do it. And for the card that I'm going to do next, we're going to use the adhesive sheets. It's going to make it a lot easier to adhere our paper. So I'll show you that in just a moment when we get ready to make it. And this is the card that we're going to make, and it's a little bit of a fun fold in that it's this part that will open up. And I didn't put a saying in there, just did the outside on this one. So for this card, I'm using the Meadow Harvest Designer Series paper, and I cut these tags out with the Tailor-Made Tags dies. I used the smallest one right here, and I cut one from designer paper and one from the white, basic white, with my saying. That saying comes from Inspired Thoughts, and it is, you make a difference every day. Right there it is. So let me get that on out of the way. And here are the pieces that I have for this. So I did cut this from scraps that I had, and let's talk about, this is the base of our card, and it's just a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch piece that is cut. I have some designer paper that is, it was half of whatever I had laying there, so it's 1 1/2 by 5 3/8. And I'm going to glue those, one on each side of this base. And I think the term for the scraps that we're going to be using, forgot I needed to leave a border, is Scrappy strips. And that will be on this center part of the card. Okay. And we're just going to put this on the other side. Here. I just kind of eyeballed that. And then our other piece that we have here is, let's see, what was that? 2 1/2 by 11. And then there's a score mark at 5 1/2. I'm going to bring in a bone folder and score that line. You still need to match your corners down here, even though there's a score line, just to make sure that everything is straight. And we are going to go ahead and decorate this before we add it to the card. This is that adhesive strip, and I have it cut to about the same size as the front here. it might be just a little bit larger. So I'm going to just adhere that all the way down. And I did get sticky on my fingers. I'll talk about that in just a second. Let me think as I try to put this down. Okay, so I've got some sticky on my fingers, and I've been crafting all day, I'm sorry. I'm just going to rub those together over my trash can and get that sticky to fall there in the trash. I don't want it to fall down in my carpet or anything like that. Okay, so I'm going to take my bone folder and then burnish the edges of where my adhesive sheet is because I want it to stick really well. And now I'm going to pull in my take your pick tool and just pick up those sections on this. Okay, there we go. All right, and I'm going to set that aside. Probably should have waited to do that because I don't have my little strips already. From my scraps, I was able to cut, I think these are 1 1/4, maybe by 3 1/4. And I'm going to cut these diagonally. And I did have to watch out for the directionality of this piece. So I'm just going to put, I think I'll just do 2 at a time. And I'm going to put one corner here and the other corner here so that it's a diagonal cut. And I'll do that for several of these. Not sure I need all of these, but and that one's not even cut exactly the same length, but that's not going to matter either because we're going to have to trim. Let me do one of each, and we'll cut more if we need it. Okay, so I'm going to push those out of the way for now. We'll bring this back in, and I wanted for my card, I wanted to use all of the blues. I just think those blues are really, really pretty. And I think I'm going to start like this, and I'm just going to put that up. Oops, that's not going to work because I didn't make sure the bottom part of that came out over the card. Okay, that will work. Okay, and then okay, this one I can use there. I want to butt it right up against each other. And then we'll just go back and forth across. Actually, I could have used that one. All right, So I'm just kind of trying to get those to cover up the front of the card. And I do want to make sure that these meet across there. Okay, we'll do one more. There. All right, so now what I have left to do is I'll pick up my card. I'll look for my scissors. Here they are. Oops, got that off of there. Okay, so we'll trim all of this extra off. Okay, now there's some trash. I think those are too small to use again, don't you? Okay, and I think since I have some space here that I'm going to put one of these on the inside like I did on the other card. And I'll just put that in the corner there. I could actually put another one. Let's just go ahead and do that. Oops. Okay, we'll have to turn this over and trim. So now really all we'd have to do on the inside is have some kind of saying, or maybe you just want to do some writing in there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead then and glue this to the front of the card. Got some glue there. I'm going to try to fix it so it's not quite so sticky. And we'll put glue back here. And we'll glue this to the center. I'm just kind of eyeballing it. Okay, and I'm going to move it up to the top there. Okay, and I see that this has turned out to be a little bit longer than the rest of the card, but that's easy to fix. I'll just cut this. Now it is a thick white. That's why I didn't really want to cut through two of those at a time. I think I'm just going to take this one and the trimmer and just trim just a tiny, tiny bit. Okay, I think that'll be fine. And we are ready to add our embellishment. So I'm going to kind of do my tags like this. I'm just going to turn that over, and yes, I made a mistake. And I'm just going to put some tape back there. That's just Scotch tape. And then, okay, I have used my glue dots. Aha, here is some. Never fear. Okay. So I'm going to put a glue dot up under here just to hold that. And I'm going to glue the tags on the card. Kind of like that. And then I made this bow on my own, And I'm going to see if I can make one for you. By the way, I did use Misty Moonlight for my stamping, and it was the Inspired Thoughts stamp set. Okay, so what I did to make this bow is I kind of took my 3 fingers and went, I'm trying to keep that from falling off the table. 1, 2, 3, probably went around 4 times. And I wanted, where I had the string coming out here, I wanted to come out on the opposite side. And then I'm going to cut another string. So I'm going to lay this down, kind of pinch it in, and I'm going to tie it with this piece. So I'm just going to kind of lay it down, hold it with my little finger, hold it better than I have it, and just tie that into a knot. Okay, that's okay. And then I'm just going to tie it again. Okay, and I don't care if it looks a little bit messy. That's okay with me. Here's these glue dots. And I'm going to put the center of this on a glue dot. Sometimes if that's too big, just kind of pull or bend the glue dot back behind, and that's going to go right in that hole. So I've got these 2 ties and this one, and I'm just going to trim those just a little. And okay, so there we go. There's the last card. You can see the difference in the just one piece down there and the 2. I almost like the one better. So there we are. Those are the 3 cards that we made today using scraps. So let me pull back in the others. So this one is the Scrappy Strips method, and we use the adhesive sheets to help us get this part. Oh, I've really bent that up today. This one, we had our scraps. We used the punch to punch those 1-inch banners, and we just put them across the card. And then on these 2, we used the adhesive, the foam adhesive sheets to help us to glue this part across here. We also used an embossing folder to help us get some texture back here to make the card a little bit more interesting. So there you go. I will have all of these. Well, this video will be on the blog. I did a Facebook Live last week that had additional cards that used scraps. And if you were interested in seeing that, that was on my blog post or my blog on Friday of this week. I think that was Friday the 8th. So if you want to check that out at lovetocreate.typepad.com, you're welcome to do that. I invite you, if you need supplies, to think of me at lovetocreate.typepad.com. There's a link there to my online store. Please share this video with your friends if you think they may have scraps they need to use or might be interested. And if you go to YouTube to check out the other video, love for you to subscribe. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. Bye-bye.